to Licensed Poetics, a podcast where writers talk about books. I'm your host, Fan Ling.
And I'm Derek.
And we're joined in the studio today by our wonderful friend, Sofi. Welcome.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Welcome to LP, Sofi. And I think this, your appearance on LP has been a long time coming. I think it should have happened a long time ago because this is not your first collaboration with Licensed Poetics.
That's right. I was a cover artist for you for a few times. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm a big procrastinator, so that really forced me to sit down.
Oh, come on. You were so efficient.
It's the corporateness in me. So yeah, by day, I'm a professional service worker, let's say that. And by night, I consume a lot of media. So I think that's why I'm wearing this very call center-ish headset today. And I might be doing some business references. Sorry if I do that. It's hard to stop
Switch
that.
off.
We love Sofi's corporate metaphors.
Remember the database one?
Yeah, so for listeners, this is one of the other initiatives that Sofi and I are involved in. But we were having a session the other day and Sofi used a database-related metaphor to explain her point. So in this episode, you might hear some more corporate metaphors coming
Corporate
away.
IT one, so apologies in advance. And I think my other qualification is funneling every book you've read, if there is a film or TV adaptation, somehow I've seen it. I think that's one of the reasons we bonded.
Yeah, that's right. So your first collaboration was the cover that you created for our The Vegetarian episode. That was a great one. And then you created the cover for our collaboration with FBI Radio.
Yes, and that's how I met you, Derek.
Yeah, that was fun. It was horrifying. I hated it so much.
It's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work for you as well, right? Like it was
Yeah, it was a lot of work for Sofi. A bit of behind the scenes knowledge. If any listeners has seen that cover, it's a photo of a gas canister on a bunch of books. The letters on the canister were individually curved, right? I remember you telling me.
Yes, it was. Also, that's because I refused to pay for the premium version of the app. I could have saved the app, but that's just on me.
Wait, how much do you know how much like it would have cost?
Like $20 or something.
Oh, wow, $20 is a lot. So so how long did it take you to do the individual curving?
Oh my gosh. About 30 minutes. So I think it was just like the
$20,
pain was
30
amplified
minutes.
because I know there are easier way to do it. Like hitting with the metaphor, it's like in Excel, instead of doing like 1 + 1 + 1, you can do just sum all, and then the contrast made it worse.
Oh, love it. It's like it wouldn't have been as painful if you didn't know about the sum all, but because you knew about the other option.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to weigh up the cost and benefit because I'm trying to explore different media, and I was just like, okay, this is something I might use once. Do I want to spend $20 on it for it to work for a month? No.
That is a fair point. Although I'm hoping that there will be many more collaborations with LP coming up in the future, but you might like to use different fonts for those.
And you would hope that you don't have to like individually curve each of those.
Oh my gosh, please don't give me those requests.
And I am hoping I will pay you more in the future.
Yay! Yes, that's one of my wish, for you to get published a lot and earn the big bucks.
I'm just going to continue and say, but today's episode is actually not about a book. We are doing LP's first ever film club. Yay!
Do we even really review books anymore? Like, when was the last time we did a book? It feels like forever ago.
Listen, Derek, to you and me, to the wider world, we're still deeply literary assholes, okay? Sofi, our last episode, which hasn't been released yet as of this date, was us live reacting to a poem.
It was
like,
yeah,
that's
it was
very
me,
literary.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
Right?
it was pretty bad.
Were
So
you
don't
guys
worry, Derek.
being that's literary side? how about the asshole side? Was the reaction?
It was a very asshole poem.
It was an assholey reaction to an asshole
And Derek
poem.
loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it
Friend,
too.
Derek.
Unsurprising.
So what happened was, it was one of my favorite poems of late, and I was like, Derek, you have to read it. And then he read it like live on the podcast, and as he was reading it, he was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this.
I also debated whether it was actually a poem, but that's fine.
Oh, you know in your heart of hearts that it's a poem.
What? Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised it has taken us this long to do a film club, because we've done TV club, but you know, Derek, you're such a Scream person.
I say that we say that, but like I haven't really watched much recently either. I've been in a real slump. I think like both reading or like consuming any sort of like long form content.
Yeah, same, to be honest, which is interesting. Yeah, slumps can happen kind of just without reason. But I will say, having seen today's film, I think it's gonna kick me back into
You think so? Yeah.
like consumption, because I loved today's film.
Yay!
Was it a recommendation from Sophie? This is a while ago. I'm trying to remember. I think it was,
so.
right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about writing, and that's when this book was released, and it's about a writer, so it was very on point.
Yeah, actually, it is based on a book, isn't it? So the film is called American Fiction, and I believe it's based on a novel not by the same name. The novel is called Erasure, but I haven't read the novel. We're only talking about the film today.
Yeah. I haven't read it either, but according to I watched an interview with Cord Jefferson, who's the director and writer of this. Apparently, he found this book via a book review, and it's something that, what was it? The review called it as good as as good for the racial stereotyping and all those politics in America as Interior Chinatown. And Interior Chinatown is a new show that's being released on Hulu with Jamie O Young and what's the other guy's name?
Oh,
Ronnie Chang.
Yes.
Is that good? I haven't seen it, but I kind of. Oh, I have Hulu, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, I can do that. Oh, cool. All right, I'll watch it.
Talks of
let us know
living in
how it
America.
is. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
future episode content. But yeah, coming back to it. And Cord Jefferson, he found this book because he's a writer. He actually used to write for Succession. So
Nice.
you can kind of see the humor coming through in this movie. He was constantly being told his work is not black enough
Of course.
by Hollywood producer.
I see.
I love this pettiness of him. So he actually went back and said, give me feedback. How do I make this more black? And the Hollywood people are like, nah, okay, I see. There's a lawsuit there. But 3 months later, after his rejection, he found this book, which was written 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a persistent issue, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't really know. I didn't really know much about him, and then I started like looking into him. But he's like written like on a lot. Like he wrote on like he was on like Master of None. If anyone's ever seen that,
Yeah.
He wrote on The Good Place. He wrote on Watchmen. Like he's done a lot.
So mostly in screen, right?
Yeah, I think basically just I think he started as like a journalist or something, but after that he basically just did screen.
That's great. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Sophie is primarily a screen consumer. Would you say?
Yes, film, TV, like your books. I'm like, oh, there's a film, there's a TV version of it. And I spent too much time on TikTok in the last few years.
Look, well, I think when I said screen person, I wasn't including the tiny screen. But like, if we're counting the tiny screens, then I am 90% a screen person because I spend way too much time scrolling.
I don't know if you guys have felt this recently, but like now, sometimes if I'm scrolling, I'm just like, I actually want to fucking kill myself. It hurts my brain to like scroll. Like if I'm scrolling, I feel like I'm dying slowly.
Do you continue to scroll?
For a little bit, and then I hate myself, and then I stop. But like, it's pretty bad. Like I feel like I'm taking psychic damage from this fucking thing.
Yeah, I feel the psychic damage, I think.
Yeah.
It also hurts my eyes.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just my
a
brain.
key weakness for you.
What?
You're the only one who wears glasses, so
Look, I do have terrible eyesight. So, yeah, I'll just quickly read this really short synopsis of American fiction. So, we follow this character called Monk. That's kind of his nickname. His real name is this crazy name, Thelonious or something. I can't pronounce it.
Thelonious
Ellison.
Ellison.
Can you say his given name again? What does it mean?
He's called Monk because there's a famous jazz musician called Thelonious Monk.
Ah,
That's why people call him Monk.
Wow.
And he's bold and looks like a monk.
I guess. Wow, I had no idea that there's a jazz musician named that. That's a great name for a character. Okay, so Monk is a frustrated novelist who's fed up with the establishment that profits from black entertainment that relies on tired and offensive tropes. To prove his point, he uses a pen name to write an outlandish black book of his own, a book that propels him to the heart of hypocrisy and the madness he claims to disdain. Yeah, so what is this black trope that he is, that is tired and offensive? I think it's very hilarious. So a few things that they listed in the film, like the absent father and the getting shot by a cop in the end.
The film stars Jeffrey Wright, Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, John Ortiz, Erica Alexander, Leslie Uggams, Adam Brody, and Keith David.
Yeah, it does have an all-star cast, right? There's someone else here that this list didn't mention, and that is Oak from Hamilton. So if people are familiar with the original cast of Hamilton, the person who plays Hercules Mulligan and Madison, his name is Oak, and he was in that imaginary scene where the son stereotypically shoots the dad. The dad is played by Keith David, and he's a legendary actor.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious that they cast such a legendary actor to play this ridiculous role.
All of the actors are pretty legendary. Sterling K. Brown is really good.
And Issa Rae as the sellout.
As the sellout. Yeah, so good. Tracy Ellis Ross is one of the most likable actors I feel like ever on screen.
I can't put names to faces. Who
the sister?
What else did she play in?
I think she's in, is it Blackish?
When you see a familiar face on screen, it's just nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Keith David's voice is so good.
I know. So I'm a huge fan of his voice because
of Rick and Morty?
Yes, he plays the president in Rick and Morty, and he plays Dr. Facilier in The Princess and the Frog, and he's also the singing voice for Dr. Facilier as well. So very talented. And he also plays Woodchuck Berkowitz in BoJack Horseman. Like the governor of California who lost his hands and who kept getting on random hands. I remember
this character.
Because I'm rewatching BoJack Horseman right now, and I'm up to around those episodes. But his voice is so recognizable. But the funny thing is, I actually had no idea what he looked like until this movie. Yeah, so maybe just to briefly explain the scene that I mentioned. So as the frustrated novelist is trying to write a satire sellout book to make fun of the tropes, he concocted this scene in his head. And the way they did it in the film is that the writer was sitting behind his desk, and then his imaginary characters are playing out the scene in his office, and the scene is a young son shooting his father.
Yeah, it was like a really stereotypical.
Yeah, and then after the shot was fired, the police arrives. Yeah, it's always black people and the police. So I think that the main character is trying to make fun of the trope, but then let's try to keep this spoiler free. Yeah, we'll save the spoilers to the end, hopefully. I think we briefly talked about why we picked it. Sophie, did you have anything to add to that?
It was the rideliness of it mainly, and I think when I recommended it, it won the Oscar back at 2024 for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Really?
The competition was fierce that year too. You guys want to hear who was contending?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yep. So the nominees were Barbie, Oppenheimer, Zone of Interest. It's that film about
Oh, it's
Nazi
that war.
Germany.
Yeah.
Right. I haven't seen that, but like Barbie and Oppenheimer do not compare to this film.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And for Cord Jefferson, it's also his first feature film. The first film he makes wins the Oscar. That's pretty big.
I know. He's so talented.
But can we talk about one of my favorite things is like whenever a director like directs something, you notice that they always like, especially with everyone, they always hire the lead. The lead that they cast always looks kind of like them. You know what I mean? Have you looked at pictures of what Cord Jefferson looks like? You know who he looks like? He looks like
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright.
Look, Christopher Nolan does it all the time.
What, by casting
Leonardo
what's his name?
DiCaprio.
They got the same haircut.
No, it's the main character is what the director wishes he looks like.
Well, except in this case, I think Cord Jefferson is better looking than Jeffrey Wright, right?
I guess. Well, if you have an inflated ego like Nolan, I guess you would cast Leonardo DiCaprio to play yourself. But like, it's a running joke, right, about how his characters are always men in tan suits with slick back hair.
Yeah. But that's what Greta Gerwig does as well. Greta Gerwig casts Saoirse
Margot
Ronan.
Robbie.
Well, I mean that's just Barbie, but like I think if you look at so I think it's why she likes Saoirse Ronan so much.
This leads to a great point, which is the wish fulfillment. And honestly, I think it's so wish fulfillment that the wish fulfillment alone makes it more writerly, because writers love to fulfill their own wish.
Yeah.
Wait, so Sophie, when you say it's a writerly film, what were you thinking?
I was thinking literally how it's about a writer dealing with all the stereotypes in the market, and he makes it really fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, that is very writerly. It's a story about a writer.
Yeah, and it's a film that stands out amongst a lot of stuff I watched that year. Like you get the big box office movies like Top Gun, and you get the really niche film like a lot of the A24, the neon films. That's about maybe like a culture we might not be familiar with, a topic we might not be familiar with. But this one, it sits at the interaction of familiar but also new, and I felt like, oh, this is something really enjoyable too.
Wow, that's beautifully put.
Yeah. I think well, should we talk about the structure of the film first?
Yes.
But how do you do it without spoiling it?
I didn't prepare any notes, so let's just try. I would say there are two main storylines in the film, right? So the first storyline is the writer career side of the main character. So he's trying to write this over-the-top satire book. He titled it Fuck, by the way. I don't think this episode can be PG-13, so we might as well go all out.
The marketing people in the movie try to dial it down with the PH using.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
Wait, no, it starts out first with my pathology.
Without TH, we have an F.
Yeah, my pathology. And then he at one point he got really frustrated, and I was like, I'm gonna call it Fuck, and surely these people are gonna be like, nah, that's going too far, we won't publish this piece of shit. But the white publishers actually loved it, and they're like, wow, this word really has the gritty background feel that we're looking for.
Yeah. In that scene, it feels like he's just trying to push their buttons and he's hoping to get called out, but how ridiculous this whole thing is. But because of, for lack of a better word, wokeness and all the racial politics in America, it feels that like the two white publishers and the marketing people are too scared to call him out and say no, unless they be offensive or offend someone on the other side.
Like it was more like, you are racist, actually. That's why you keep saying yes to this shit because all you care about is using it to sell. Like you're not concerned with actual quote unquote blackness. You're concerned with like what the consumable version of blackness is.
Yeah, and that consumable version is would use the word fuck a lot. Do you know what I
And
mean?
is super offensive.
Yeah. It's like I imagine the main character Monk would be saying, "Wow, so this is what you think black people are like, aren't right?"
Yeah.
That's what for his writerly career, he's trying to publish this book, and he's also being invited to judge a literary award. So he's one of the panel of judges. So that's the two things. And on his personal side, he's also dealing with some family problems. So his mom is being diagnosed with dementia. He recently lost his sister, and his brother went through a messy divorce, and basically he's short on money. And this gave him the motivation to chase like a really big publishing deal, right? So that was the motivation. Like A, he wanted to make fun of the market, but B, he also needed the money. I would say that's the premise.
I think that's a really good summary of the structure. Sophie, you got anything to add?
No, that's really good summary. I take a look. Well, I guess one fun thing to ask. I had a look on Letterboxd on all of the reviews.
Yeah.
Well, there's a decent amount of thirst traps about Sterling K. Brown, which is very understandable.
Wait, Cliff.
Yes.
He plays the character. Oh, he's hot.
Yes.
And he's not exactly young, is he? He has like gray hair and stuff, but he is very hot still.
Yeah. He's like jacked as well.
Yeah.
Derek, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's not up for debate. That's a fact.
I think there are very few people alive who would not find him hot.
Yeah, and then he's like I also love his character. Like he's like what's that line where he's like, I've been gay for like 5 minutes, so I just need to like
Yeah, he's really leaning in.
he's in the house and he's got like the two like the
young men.
the two like jacked guys.
Making
And he's like snorting
smoothies.
cocaine off the table.
That is so funny. Like I also feel like this was a pretty clever way to sneak in diversity into a film. Do you know what I mean? Like have a gay black character in a way that still serves the story and isn't jarring.
On Letterboxd, there's a decent amount of people who finds the family storyline distracting from the other storyline.
Interesting.
But like again, looking back at the interview with Percival, he said that's one of the things he's trying to prove with this story. It's his family. It's not just a white family painted brown. It's integral to his story. He's trying to break the mold, the stereotype of how a black story would go. And by playing this family storyline, it's trying to do that. Because sometimes in works like Fences, the dynamics of a black family can be a whole story of its own. But sometimes in, I would think, like a more stereotypically white movie, it can just be a funny side story. So it's interesting how people find this story, the family line, distracting from it. It kind of proves the point.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly that.
What is
yeah.
that?
It's like intentionally melodramatic.
Complex?
Well, I was gonna say melodramatic.
Yeah, it is melodramatic.
And it's like melodramatic, and then it makes sense when you get to the third act reveal in the
No,
in-
okay,
in the
that's
story.
definitely spoiler section.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm gonna talk about that so hard in the spoiler section.
But because you guys ever watch like Lifetime movies or like those really corny sort of
Hallmark romance
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
vibes.
sort
Wait,
of-
like Boyhood?
More cornier.
but yeah, like intentionally dramatic, like and very intentionally dramatic, where you're like, oh, there's like the beautiful shots of the beach and like it's very like that sort of movie. And they're usually about, I mean, these stories that like he's telling of the family is usually the kind of, that's like a rich family story. That's usually a white rich family story.
that is so true. Yeah.
Like the divorced parents, like
The beach
gay
house.
gay uncle, beach house, mother with dementia, like that. doesn't
Yeah.
that's not usually, and that's in contrast to the story that he tells.
Exactly. And I think from the very beginning, it's very obvious to me that the film is making a point that the story that the film is telling, of the normal struggles of everyday families, that is what a complex Black story would look like. It's
Or
basically
can look
like
like, I guess.
can look like, exactly.
Yeah.
So the film itself is like the opposite of the book that the character is trying to write,
Yeah.
or like what the character wishes there were more of in the market. So
Yeah.
in that
And
sense, it's so meta, isn't it?
can I bring another level of meta to this
Yeah.
Inception Russian
Yes.
doll thing? That's exactly I would feel what the writer, like Percival Everett, wants to write, because he comes from a family of doctors. His father was a doctor and his grandfather was a doctor. Him being a writer, he find a family like his did not exist in print.
Mm.
So with this book, he's trying to portray his experience of
Exactly.
a writer that doesn't fit in.
Exactly. And I just love how meta this film is. To me, that's very writerly as well. It's the writerly urge to make everything super layered and confusing.
Well, I always thought so. My feeling about the structure of it is like, okay, there's a part of me that feels like the film is too commercial, personally. Like, it's not very raw, it's too cleaned up, and then especially the dramatic family bit, which I was telling you, because at first I was like, "Oh, it's, like, very raw and it's real and it's kind of like that." But then it starts to get more and more, like, dramatic or, like, melodramatic, and I was like so I kind of saw, again, the reveal, which we won't talk about, which I won't, say explicitly what it is. When the reveal happened, I was like, "Of course this is what was happening," because they
Yeah, I kind
foreshadowed
of
it.
saw it coming as well.
It was a
yeah.
little if I have any complaint about it, it is well, okay, I guess we can leave that to later on in the thing. But yeah, it feels very like closed box. It's like if so remember how you mentioned Top Gun Maverick?
Yes.
I actually think it's a lot like Top Gun Maverick.
What?
That's the comparison I keep drawing as well. I want to hear your reasons.
Oh, okay. So like my reason for it is because Top Gun Maverick is like interesting in some ways or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's a closed loop of a story. Like there are no loose ends. It's fully like contained, and so it feels very small and localized to me, like as a story. Like
Like packaged and neat.
it's packaged and neat, yeah. And in this story, it doesn't leave you with any questions. Personally, all of the questions are answered because at the end of the day, that third act reveal closes that loop fully for me, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I actually don't think it's a complicated it's meta in a way that's really digestible and really easy to understand. Okay, I know that we talk about layers of complexity. I actually don't think it's complex at all. I think it's really simple and really straightforward. And that's good. I don't think it's bad.
Exactly.
But
Yep. For me, it hits the again, like the sweet spot of something commercial and something artsy and indie, and I loved it for that. I think there could be some, how do I say, outside influence to this decision, because like paying attention to like the beginning of the movie for the first time of my life, it's actually an MGM Amazon movie. So there could be pressure from the studio telling the director to say, look, you have to pick an ending that would work for our audience. And because these folks would have a wider distribution network than, like, say, your A24, your Neon, they kind of have to get something that works with the mass market. Think like your MGM and like what's another big studio? Your
Legendary.
Disney.
Amazon, Disney, yes. You have to hit that spot. Like, so they're like the Zara's and H&M of the movie world. They work on scale. It's like the movies like Top Gun, Maverick, the movies like Marvel.
Paramount. Yeah.
Yes, movies like what is it? Jurassic World. That's where their strength is.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm still missing. How is this similar to Maverick? I've also seen Top Gun Maverick.
But
by
the idea
way.
is that it's a simple, straightforward, digestible story. Like it's interesting and it's got a lot of ideas that are kind of like
Yeah,
It
yeah,
challenges you to a good amount. Say in Maverick, they're throwing like, ooh, a female pilot, ooh, like complicated
Oh.
relationship. Like it challenges you to just enough
But
for
Uh,
to be
yeah, but you
palatable.
see, like I like those kind of stories, and I
it's
agree.
Rick and Morty meta. This is not complicated. That's how I feel about it. Like it's not Charlie Kaufman meta. It's
No, it's not. No,
it's not
not.
Eternal Sunshine. Even Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is more complicated, I think, than this movie.
I haven't seen those, but I love how you think the ending is like closed off and like
It's very closed off.
I
'Cause
think
it's-
the ending is maybe because I just watched the film with my partner
Yes.
and when the big reveal happened in the end, I can almost hear the gears in his brain grinding of him struggling to understand it.
Is that
And
going
he's
in this
saying-
episode?
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
That's
Does
so
he
mean.
listen to this podcast?
He does.
After both of us, like
Yeah.
after Sophie and me both were like, anyway, it's simple and easy to understand. You're like, anyway, it was so hard for him to figure out what was going on.
Look, I agreed. Like, I think it was a fair leap, especially because I agree that like most of the film is pretty commercial and clean, and like you can see the lines going where the audience expects it to go, and that's what gives them that satisfaction. But I do think that twist at the end is pretty out there for compared to the rest of the film. Before we fully commit to the spoiler section, maybe just a quick who would we recommend this film to? Sophie, would you like to go first?
I recommend it to you folks. Sure. Anyone
Very
who is
good.
a writer. I think two types of people. First, people who like Succession, but also has hope in their heart.
You're right. There is hope in this film. It's a very sweet film.
It's
It's very
sarcastic.
sweet and feel good. Just the
Yeah.
right amount, a tiny bit of sarcasm, I would say.
Just palatable enough for the mass market.
Yeah.
The Rick and Morty kind of sarcasm. And I think the second kind would be any tortured geniuses that I know.
Yeah,
The main
that
character.
tortured geniuses in a derogatory way for sure.
Yeah.
Not in a complimentary way, in a really like tortured genius.
I still can't believe they left that line in the film. Like, this is not a spoiler, but basically that moment, some other character calls the main character a genius. I don't know. That line threw me a bit. Like, I don't trust anyone who like calls themselves genius. Like when he was writing the screenplay, he's basically having other characters call him a genius, which is basically him calling himself a genius, right? Because he's
Yeah.
writing the screenplay. And imagine you like growing up, never hearing a word of praise from your parents. And when you're creating a fictional story, of course you would make your fictional parents call you a genius. Like,
Are you starting
Yeah.
to, this is starting to get very personal, I feel like. Just the speed that you delivered that at was like, well, of course you get your parents to call you genius.
I think we have a
It's-
third target audience section, like any
Yeah.
Asian kids who have parental trauma. Or just any kid with tough parents.
wow. That is a great answer to who would you recommend this film to, Sophie. So that was a spoiler-free section. I hope you enjoyed it. And now let's move on. Okay.
Spoiler. So okay, I guess we can talk about the structure and how it all intersects, but basically in the thing that we were all alluding to, that we've all been kind of talking about without talking about it, is there's a big third act reveal, and that reveal is as the story progresses, those two writerly storylines intersect because he's judging a literary award, at which point his book Fuck under Stag R. Lee gets
Stag
submitted.
R. Lee.
Yeah, Stag R. Lee
Stag.
ends up getting submitted and then wins that award. At which point he walks up to the front of the stage, and as he begins to speak, smash cut to black, and then you find out it pulls back, and you find out that that's him pitching the story of what happened in his life to the greasy director producer guy played by Adam Brody, and he starts to run through all these alternative pitches because the initial pitch of what really happened, quote unquote,
Mm.
isn't sexy enough for the story.
No.
So then he pitches this alternative rom-com ending, which has this
Great.
which has a hilarious like scene where he walks up to talk to his to his girlfriend who he's like who's been angry at him and has been fully estranged from him the whole time. And as he talks to her, the camera pans like pulls back in the cheesiest shot you've ever seen in your life.
And then
it's
the
so-
music as well.
the
swells.
music.
Yeah.
Gentle piano music.
Yeah.
Full of
Look,
hope.
Listen, does any of that not matter for you, Derek? I think it's pretty meta.
But it's meta in a way that's really digestible and super easy to understand. Like it's not
Well-
Inception. It's not like trying to
Like, at that moment, my partner was like, wait, I'm so confused. What's happening? What actually happened? And he was like, this didn't really happen, right? I was like, nothing really happened. It's a film. None of this really happened.
Oh my god.
But
Stop
then-
playing with him.
But then they showed a different alternative ending, which is even funnier, which is a bunch of cops storm the awards ceremony and just start shooting the living shit out of him. And then he just like collapsed in a pool of blood.
crazy about that is that about 3 or 4 years ago, that could have been a legitimate ending
Yeah.
to a legitimate story. That is the story that he wrote.
Yeah,
Like, if
because
that-
yeah,
It's
because
the one that's preferred by the Hollywood producer character.
and Stag Ali is a fugitive, so it makes sense in the film world for police to storm in and just shoot him.
It makes sense as something that people would eat up as Oscar bait. Like it
Yeah. And
it's-
even the whole thing of him holding the award like a big block of glass and then the police
glass?
mistaking him holding that glass as, look, he's got a gun, shoot him. Look, I can tell
oh my
that's
god,
an
yeah.
exact reference to a book or a movie called The Hate You Give. Have you guys read that? It's
no.
a young adult book. It's called The Hate You Give. And in it, that's at the beginning of that story, but there's a black teenager who was pulling a hairbrush out of his car. And then he's using one of those thick hairbrushes with a thick handle. And then the police thought he was grabbing a gun and they shot this 16-year-old
To be
boy.
fair, I'm not sure that's specific enough to be a reference to that
Yeah,
thing. It's
I
just
know.
a thing that happens in real life. So, like,
Yeah.
the
Look,
police.
I really liked The Hate You Give, but this ending did make me think of that.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I think it did in a really like tasteful way. Like it's a block of glass that looks nothing like a
So it's even funnier. Yeah.
gun. Yeah.
The satire gets better and better every time a ridiculous white character is involved.
Oh, hell
Have you
yeah.
noticed that when on screen and it's just black characters talking to each other, it's
Mm.
always kind of like grounded and real. The moment a white character comes in, it starts to become like parody, and it's so funny. And the
I
black characters are
know.
always looking at each other like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Exactly. And that's so true, though. It does sometimes it does feel like you two are the only reasonable people in the room, and everyone else is just like a
Yeah.
clown. And I love that. I think in a lot of traditional whatever stories, it's the black character that's like the comic relief, the slightly outside the norm played by the white characters. But here it's like the opposite of that, right?
Yeah.
I felt that white character moment. That's a really good way to describe it. Even going back to the beginning of the movie, when he's teaching a class on the fiction of American cells,
Mm.
and the book is called The Artificial N-Word. He was ready to go in to analyze the shit out of it. But then a white girl right is like, excuse me, I'm not comfortable about this, and just completely sidetracks the conversation.
Yeah, and she's being like really unreasonable about it and making it about her. I feel like that was the biggest problem. And the film did make it clear. And then like, he did try to be like, look, we're discussing literature from this period of time and it will contain confronting language. And then the girl's like, well, I don't think I should be forced to look at it all day. It's so offensive.
He tries to break it, but at the end, I do feel the ending falls flat. It gives a very Hollywood happy-esque ending. I would say there's like a fourth alternative ending at the end.
Wait, so you think it is happy?
The way he drives away from his brother, he's, instead of fighting the system, he accepts it and makes an effort to make it right with people around him.
Yeah.
That reminds me of some Hollywood like endings, say at the end of, instead of fighting the, like, what is it? Obi-Wan Ben Kenobi, instead of fighting the Emperor, he decides to retire to Tatooine. And you can think of Hollywood main characters who decide to not fight the battle and take care of what's right around them.
Yeah.
But I feel like he did fight, right? Like the film that he made was,
he lost.
I think basically he, instead of making Plantation Annihilation, they're making American Fiction, right?
No, there's
I think
What ending did he choose?
no, like the film that they're making is not Plantation Annihilation anymore. The film they're making is American Fiction.
No, they are. They're because he goes to meet him on the set of Plantation Annihilation.
Okay.
To pitch the next movie, which is
American Fiction. Yeah. So I would say he did fight, and the way he fought is to pitching the film American Fiction.
But he didn't
That's
win.
right. The ending that he decided to go along with. There was
you mean
versions.
you mean which one? You mean the getting shot one?
Yeah.
That's the one the producer loved, and he didn't fight it. He said he didn't say let's go with it, but he didn't fight it.
Because he can't. He's a writer, right? Like it's you if they don't like it, they'll kick you out, and then they'll hire a new writer to finish the plot that you didn't want to write. Like the screenwriter in Hollywood is like very weak. They don't have a lot of power. They often don't even meet the director, or they meet them at the end as they're handing the script off, and then they're told to get lost. To me, that's kind of more a symbol of like, you actually just cannot win. It's not possible to succeed. Like you can't. There was no commercial version of that movie.
Right. I actually found the ending pretty likable, and I like that it's not super duper clear.
Oh, I think it's a good ending. Sorry, to be clear.
Yeah.
I think it's a good ending.
Yeah.
I just but I'm saying it's like the end of like a Rick and Morty episode. He's like, it is what it is. I'm still making the money. I can still pay for my mum's to stay at the Alzheimer's, like care facility.
Yeah. I did like the final shot where he kind of was like acknowledged the actor who was playing the slave in well, it doesn't have to be Plantation Annihilation, or just like any actor in Hollywood, any black actor in Hollywood who's finding that the only role they can play is the slave in different films. I like that he like kind of acknowledges him, and there's kind of this like unspoken like, yeah, this is the world we live in, but like let's try to do what we can from it.
Yeah,
I think that's what's being exchanged in that when they locked eyes. Yeah, when they had eye contact.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about it, actually, I think this is kind of going back to something Sophie was saying earlier, because you're a woman, you can only talk about like pay gap inequality or whatever, but you can't talk about, or you're not. It seems weird to talk about like dynamics between women in the workplace or whatever. The thing that made me think of is that conversation between Issa Rae's character and the main character.
I love that scene.
When they're like, when he's basically like, but I wrote this as a joke and you wrote yours seriously. So your writing seriously is a joke. Like, what's wrong with you?
Guys, I want to talk about that scene, please. So Issa Rae's character is like the sellout, right? We called her that.
Sintara,
and she's also
whatever her name is.
Golden. Her last name is Golden. And then they're both on the panel of judges, and they were talking about the book Fuck. But she doesn't know that he wrote it. But obviously he knows her work, and her work is very popular on the market. And she didn't like Fuck. And then he's like, okay, so you don't like Fuck, then don't take this as offense. But of course she did, because it's deeply offensive. How is your book different to Fuck? And then she is kind of saying, I'm just writing to fulfill a need in the market. And that, like, I am from a comfortable middle class background, but I write about the downtrodden. What's wrong with that? Like, comfortable white writers write about the downtrodden all the time. But then I think my question to you is like, why doesn't she like fuck? I don't really understand.
Why wouldn't she like it?
Yeah, why doesn't she like fuck?
Because I think
Because
the implication is
yeah,
that the reverse is also true. Like she is being like she's doing something that she feels may be derivative. Like the idea is that like audiences cannot tell the difference, right? Between what is real and what is not.
yes.
He's saying your stuff is as fake as my stuff.
Mm,
And she's saying, well, no, my stuff is actually real. But there's no way to bear that out. His
yeah,
argument is,
interesting.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm trying to
She
think of a better
said,
word.
yeah, she said fuck was soulless. So does that mean she can kind of see that it's written on a false premise?
Yes. So that's her argument. And then he's saying, well, your stuff is just as soulless as mine,
Mm,
regardless of not whether or not you talk to real people, because you didn't live that experience. It's just about like authenticity, what it means to be a writer. It's the things you grapple
mm.
with, I think, as a writer generally, right? Like,
I do love that scene, and I think it's great. And then she also says that, look, I write about the downtrodden, and then you're talking as if you don't think downtrodden exists anymore. Maybe you've just been so comfortable for so long that you forget poor people exist. And then he's like, well, I just think there's so much more black story out there to tell. Why can't we keep telling the same thing? I see the potential. And then she's like, well, you want potential, and you're basically saying what you're seeing right now, my work is not good enough. That's why you talk about potential.
It sounds like these two characters represent two ways to approach stereotyping.
Mm,
Our main character is like, oh, I gotta fight it. Like, I ain't doing this shit. And Issa is like, oh, there's an opportunity there. It is okay to stereotype and make money out of this. It was
yeah.
interesting to see them clash. And her character raises a good point. I actually thought that's why you really like this scene, Falling, because it mentions a writer you really like. She said, do you get angry? You know who I'm talking about?
Bret Easton Ellis and Charles Bukowski.
Both. All right. And that makes me think, if we think about like a stereotypically white book like Less Than Zero, American Fiction, or even The Great Gatsby, do we think they're a sellout? Do we think they are stereotyping, or we just treat it like a essential human story?
That's so true, and that's why her argument is so valid, because black writers have that extra burden to bear, where when they're trying to write about the downtrodden, they have to write in response to that existing stereotype, whereas white writers, their work can just be about anything, about the human experience. And in that sense, it is very unfair that black
Using
authors
an
have this
example,
extra burden.
our main character, he writes about what? Mythology? That's where he thinks his book should be classified in, but it gets put in African American literature because he is an African American man.
I think, to be a bit more meta, you know how we were saying how like black writers have that extra burden to, you have to address the stereotype and you have to give a response in your work, otherwise your work is like lacking something, or isn't as strong as it could have been. This piece, American Fiction, is that, right?
Yes.
It responds to that stereotype by having that ridiculous book line, but it also sneaks in a more human, real story, which is the melodramatic family story.
But at the end of the day, that's all subsumed into the corporate Hollywood machine, which nothing escapes from.
That is fine, right? Well, that's not fine, but like that's the state for everyone, regardless of
Yeah, which is
anyone.
which is like which is what I really liked about it. It's the idea that like your gender, your like your racial identity, your like all of these things, they mean nothing before the pure numbers that is
Of
the
capitalism.
Hollywood like manufacturing industry.
Yes, it does not matter as long as we make money.
I'm somewhat hopeful about this. Yes, that's what happens. Is there anything we can do, or there are message, themes, motifs from the movies about what we can do about this machine?
I
Or
don't
are
think so.
there things
Just
outside of the machine?
Sneak in more complex stories. I think that's the moral. Look, as bad as numbers are, behind each number is a real person. I think we're always trying to like find the argument or the thesis that we're trying to say and then sneak it into a digestible format.
It's all that's all
Yeah.
about what it is, I think.
Yeah.
But today I do have a graph. I brought along a graph to this episode, which we can talk about later.
Wait.
What's the graph for?
It's so Cord Jefferson, when he accepted this award, one of the big points he was trying to make is like, studios, like, stop making like budgets for like $200 million, like have smaller films with like more diverse voices, have movies for 10 million, 20 millions. So that got me thinking, why do these studios want to make the big movies? And the answer in short is the money. And I analyzed like, how does the money all work?
Oh my god. You should definitely take the reign. Please share. Please share your findings.
Okay. So I found. So let's give you folks some numbers.
Oh, she's sharing screen.
I'll share the numbers for now. So
No, share screen if you like, please. The
Oh my
listeners won't be able to see it, but like, you know, we'd love to see
Okay.
it. This is
I'll
going to
share
a clip.
screen. All right, sweet. I will share the notes, but at the beginning it is just numbers. There's no graph. If you guys are all right with it. So here we go. So in a interview, Cord Jefferson said he shot this movie in 26 days with a budget of less than $10 million, and the box office gain is around $22 million. Compare that with Top Gun. Coming back to it, it was made in a year with a budget of $170 million, but they gained $1.4 billion.
Wait, that is what the...
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god.
So if you do the math of like 20 mil minus 10 mil, that's what? How much is that? 12 mil?
Yeah.
And shot in 26 days, right? So divide that by 26. How much is that? Let me bring up my calculator.
Okay, Sophie actually is revolutionizing our process.
So you're making 460K per day,
Okay.
right? Compared to Top Gun, let's do, oh my gosh, how do we even do this?
Type it into Google, it'll handle it.
Thank you.
Billion.
Billion minus 170 million.
Type the word minus. Type the word minus.
Minus.
Oh.
I think
1.3.
minus
Yeah.
I think it already gave the right answer.
Yeah.
$1.3 billion.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
divide that 1.3 billion divide by what?
1 year.
A year, 360.
365 days.
You earn 3 million a day.
Talk about hard numbers, Derek. I think to me before I was just like, oh, numbers. And looking at the actual numbers really does crush your soul a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you have to. That's why like sometimes the best you could hope for is like, but that's why they don't take risks with like movies that big, like blockbusters. You can't do a blockbuster movie with like diverse casting or like interesting script writing most of the time because it's too big a risk,
Oh,
especially on a big
God.
property. Because like
Yeah, and from what I can see, there's almost two categories of, let's simplify it to two categories of players in the market. There's a big studios, like you said, Derek. And then in recent years, there are smaller studios like A24, Neon, who are coming up with smaller budget movies that are focused on more diverse topics, but niche topics. That's where these guys really specialize in. And the big studios, they can't really compete in this space. It's like asking Azara to compete with like R.M. Williams in the shoe space.
It's the same thing you get with like it's the different parts of the market, right? Like you have if you want to go even more extreme, what's that? Is it Blumhouse? Like those like 5 million and below like budget horror movies. Like there's just this big companies will never do it. And because I guess A24 is getting really big. So
Yes.
to the point where like their name has clout, and they're
Yes,
retaining their indiness, but they're never gonna get big enough to have like, yeah,
they can have many movies that's like 20 million, like smaller budget, but are they going to do a movie that's like $170 million? That's
yeah.
not where they are playing. And for these big studios, their strength are these big blockbuster movies. They control so many of the resources in the industry. So that's why you kind of see a not unfair distribution of resources going that way.
The only thing that can compete in theory is streaming services, but because you see like streaming services will put a crap ton of money into, but then they just become the equivalent of blockbuster powerhouses as well.
That's
Like
it.
in so you don't end up getting
You get
like
what? MGM merging with Amazon. You get Disney, Marvel, 21st Century
yeah
Fox all merging together.
yeah
They are sort of pushing the market to one extreme, but with streaming, you do see a difference. Yeah. And to
it's
prove, go ahead,
go
finish the
no
point.
no.
So to prove the point, I will bring up the graph. So it's a graph from datagraph.com about all the best the top box office movies from 2019. Gotta make this smaller. And you see
Fucking
Avengers
God.
Endgame by a mile.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's in a way you want your movie to fall into the smaller budget and
So that
bigger
you
gain
because
side.
you cannot compete. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Like, I think the big numbers just make me think about like, what does the real human want when they watch a movie, when they engage with movie? Like, maybe they're searching for familiarity and comfort and satisfaction and wish fulfillment.
I mean,
more than
that's part
anything.
of the reason that the more interesting stuff that actually, that sort of in between that we keep talking about is being handled more by TV, I think, or like shows.
And the smaller studios.
They cost
Yeah.
less to make, right?
Well, shows and that's why I think animation is because animation you could like the resourcing changes and
Yeah.
yet it can still reach the same. It can still make heaps of money. It can still be commercial, but you can sneak in, things here and there that you wouldn't. Like BoJack Horseman could not be made if it was like a full-fledged TV show with like actual actors. You just couldn't make it. So yeah, it's just about like sneaking it. Yeah, it's kind of what we were talking about, right? Just sneaking your ideas into the market. Ugh.
And how much you can create your creation isn't just up to you, it is up to market resources too.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how depressed Fengling is
no.
getting. Like, just getting the light behind her eyes is dimming slowly.
Look, like, for as much as we have been talking about how American fiction is the sweet spot between two worlds, I think maybe by the numbers standards that we just seen, it's actually very much towards the smart side, the non-commercial side.
And to the studios, it's not on top of their books, even if it wins an Oscar.
Yeah.
But in terms of box office, if they're chasing the bottom line, it would not be a pet project of theirs.
Like, and Derek is right, like the risk, right? It's like the creativity of the story matches the budget of it. Is in like inverse proportional, right?
It matches the budget and the studio that it is in. Yeah. You guys want to hear a fun fact?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the studio behind this is Orion. They are the folks. So they're kind of like a precursor, I would say, to your A24 and your Neon. So back in the days, they were responsible for like the indie films, like a lot of Woody Allen films, Silence of the Lambs, Amadeus, and Dance with the Wolves. These are movies you would not think would typically be interesting to a Hollywood audience, but these folks, they saw an angle to it, released it, didn't have massive budget, but that's their speciality. But in the last few decades, they first got bought by MGM, and then MGM got acquired by Amazon and merged into MGM Amazon. So you kind of don't hear so much from Orion anymore. I feel their marketplace is being taken over by A24 and Neon.
This is great. I think we never get a business side to the podcast, Derek.
Yeah,
maybe that is
for
what
sure.
what we have been lacking. I think maybe bringing it back to American fiction.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Like
yeah.
like this commerciality world, I think it's biased against Black people too. You know, because there are so many Black films that are considered award winners, and then like it's almost like a certain audience would walk in expecting to be sad. They would be interested in those films. But then commerciality, it's like, oh, I don't want to watch a movie about racial injustice. That's just gonna make me sad, so I'm not gonna watch it. I'm going to the movies for a fun time. Like I'm not.
Or like a triumphant story, right? Like that's kind of the stereotype. Is like.
So I guess that's why Black Panther was a really important milestone that it was, because it showed that Black people's stories can achieve phenomenal commercial success and that it's not a blocker.
You folks as creatives, do you feel torn between writing something widely popular, catering to the mass audience, versus writing a story that's really true to you but might not like get as
Maybe
much
you can
likes?
start, Feng Ling.
You're like waiting for my answer. Look, honestly, Sophie, to answer your question, I don't think I've figured out the commercial formula yet. Honestly, even if I want to write fuck, the Asian equivalent of fuck, I couldn't do it because I don't have the skills.
I would.
Let's see.
His hell is something I fantasize about.
Yeah.
So I don't have that. I'm not relate. I
Yeah.
don't relate to that. I think maybe successful people can relate to it.
Let's answer the big question. If we three have been the writer of this very good movie, which, you know, we can dream about, what would we have changed about it?
I kind of like it to be messier. It's too polished for me, I think. But I think it's also supposed to be that way, and I think it's supposed to be like that. And
I think if it's outside of MGM Amazon, it might be like that.
yeah, you might be right. Oh,
Okay, but I was just gonna say, honestly, I don't think there was much I would change about this film as I see it. You know what I definitely wouldn't change? The phenomenal cast. And I think the cinematography is really good as well. There's a lot of like clever choices, but not like so clever that it's confusing.
I think it's hacky on purpose almost, right? Like some of those shots where there's like the beautiful ocean and stuff, it's like the kind of thing that you'd see in one of those movies about like
Yeah.
The Lifetime movies.
the Lifetime
And also
movies,
like
yeah.
because like I'm such a newbie to cinema in general, I don't really know much about like cinematography techniques. One thing that I noticed is that, say, when he was walking in that restaurant to meet Adam Brody for the first time, he's putting on this character, you know, retreating from his middle class self into like that strut, that accent. But then the way the camera worked was that the camera followed him, but then the camera moves over a wall, so you see a brief break from him, and then so that implies that he's changing into a different persona as well. I'm like, oh, things like that. I'm like, I appreciate.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's like very restrained cinematography.
Derek, you really like rough edges, don't you?
I
like
do.
the clumsiness and the charm.
I like.
I will say though, I understand you, because sometimes when I see a piece of work that is overall well done but has rough edges, those things and clumsiness, those things like make me fiercely attracted to it.
That's how this is gonna be a metaphor. I think like Sophie is like slowly processing. It's like these guys are attracted to bad people. This is a
No.
Well,
But I agree.
you
I
said
think
that, not me, Derek.
I think American fiction, the story really works like a well-oiled machine. Everything
and
is
it works
in
too
place.
well. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
for your taste.
if you ever go on a date with someone and you're like talking to them and they're like telling you like, you know, all about their lives and stuff, and they're like they're like happy, but they're the right amount of happy, and they're optimistic for the future, but they're realistic enough, and you're like, I don't care. This sucks. And then you go on a date with someone and they're like crying on the first date and you're like,
Okay, I think we are scaring our guests.
maybe Sophie doesn't relate.
In a meta way, this is our first date with Sophie, and we are scaring her right away.
it's our first date on record, but I think you
Yeah.
folks, especially Derek, who said some freaky shit before, you also have recorded a lot of freaky shit in previous episodes.
What?
Yeah, so this is not even the oh, so we're not scaring her. All good, all good.
I know what I've signed up for. But yeah, to use a horny metaphor, it's like, I don't know, with
Do you mean corny?
ceramics.
No, I think she
Oh
meant
my
horny.
gosh, this is a Freudian slip. I keep thinking how Derek likes horny and scary shit.
Do you mean to use it? What's your horny metaphor?
Corn. It's my corn. It's got a lot of juice. It's like with like plates. If it's something that's just like a pure white plate without any flaws, I'm like, okay, it looks like a commercial plate. But I love mine that has like human touches, a
Imperfections.
little bit broken. Yes, like some
Oh, so you agree?
kintsugi stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree. It's the humanness, for lack of a better word.
Well, I think what the audience really wants to know is that how you feel about dating as well? Like, are you looking for imperfections?
Someone that cries on the first date.
Okay, that was an extreme example.
No flirting with guests, Derek. Look, this show has been involved in some pretty messy relationships. Not that we're gonna that we're gonna dish those out. Although I'm sure that is what the listener wants.
Maybe that's how this show gets famous. The
I
relationship
know,
drama behind it.
like the more I realize, I think podcast is better to talk about dirty laundry. Like the format of podcast is for dirty laundry.
You being in a relationship is damaging this podcast severely.
You see, like
the potential.
So many people listen to the Mushroom Trial podcast. Do you know why? Because that's dirty laundry. That's drama. So I think now is a good time to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much, Sophie, for appearing as guest. I hope you had a good time. We can't wait to have you back again.
Yes, I would love to. I had lots of fun, and I learned a lot about Derek as a person as well as a bonus point.
Oh,
It's
man.
always great.
He is secretly happy on the inside.
Oh, to be seen? Yeah, I guess so. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and also like spinning everything into a personality analysis is Derek's thing.
I've been like holding it in.
You did that today. You did that today. You were like, oh, like the reason you don't like the genius thing is because you secretly think you're a genius and you're just salty that you didn't get to call yourself one.
Yeah, and I'm right about that. I don't think I was.
Look, but that's still analyzing. Anyway, very on brand and nice dynamic to have in the episode. Okay, so if you'd like to support Licensed Poetics, head to buymeacoffee.com/licensedpoetics. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Fan Ling.
I'm Derek,
I'm Sophie.
and we're signing off.
Yay, bye.
Yeah,
Bye, guys.
folks. See you next time.